Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So, I have like 20 minutes before someone comes pick me up, so I'm gonna make this short. So this week, I'm bending down here to see what Beak's doing. She's laying on the floor with her head on her paws. We're about to go to a craft show. So this week was challenging for me. So the college put in some new truncated domes for me, which was great because they needed to be put in as far as accessibility goes. You know, they're required, and so they were put in. But the problem is that they were angled, and some of the street crossings here, like the parking lots, the driveways, some of those are angled too. So the truncated domes were correct, as in they're correct because they angle, but it's really confusing for a blind person. So the problem is we have rounded corners, and there are blended curbs, which means basically that the sidewalk and the driveway are going to be blended together, so you won't even know. Like, you can walk in the street and not even realize it if you are a cane user, and you just happen to miss those truncated domes by an inch. You won't even know. However, they are putting them around the whole curb. That way, eventually you run into something and you'll be like, oh, that's a street. Okay. So the problem is, they put two of them, and in this particular area where I will tell you about what happened later. There is, like, when you walk from here to campus, because I still live on campus technically, but it's like probably about a mile or so walk from here to campus, like the main part of campus. So you have to cross at an old dome, which is like an older one that's been there longer. It's in the ground more, and then you have to end up on a new one, which is like hollowish kind of feeling. It kind of feels like plastic with the cane. And then, of course, Beacon doesn't like to walk on them. She doesn't like anything hollow. But I've trained her to work on them, and she likes them because she gets food. So the problem is, a lot of sighted people don't know how to give directions to a blind person. So I got lost, and I've been getting lost like all this time with just that one particular area. And only because, like, people would say, oh, we'll cross at this dome and you end up at the other dome, which is correct. But since they angle, she would end up veering me and angling me over into the street. And she'd find a dome eventually, but I kept telling her it was wrong because people were telling me it was wrong, which technically it was right because they were straight across. But the angled crossings are really confusing to me as a blind person, as a cane user, and as a guide dog user, because guide dogs are trained to go straight. So you have to work on specifically teaching them to go to an angled crossing across any particular street that you work on. And you know, I'm new here, like, not new as in college campus, but new to this area of the campus. I have only had her for 3 months, and so I sometimes forget that. I talked to some of my other classmates from Leader Dog, and they're doing amazing. And stuff like this where I get lost, it just, like, I'm still working on my self-confidence, my trust in her, and stuff like this, like little bitty stuff that just builds up. Like, it just makes me feel like I'm an incompetent guide dog handler, that I shouldn't have this dog because if I don't know where I'm going, why would I? If I don't know where I'm going, I shouldn't have a dog. Pretty much, that's how I feel sometimes. And so this week, I got lost for I got lost in the morning, and I called public safety to come help me. They're like the campus police people. They helped me, and then I got to a little break in the day, and I went back to redo it. And it was just this one little crossing that throws me off, because if you miss, as a blind person, if you miss anything by a couple inches, like, that's it. You can get lost within a couple inches. So I was already a little bit upset about this crossing, and I don't cry very much, but I was at my point of tears. So I'm like standing in the intersection, can't figure it out, I'm lost. I know I'm close to where I want to go, but I'm not where I should be. And these people start helping me a little bit, so thank you for those of you who were helping me. It just, they didn't understand exactly how to help me as a blind person. You know, I would explain the way I thought it was laid out to them the blind way, and they didn't understand because they're sighted people, which totally makes sense. Like, they don't understand, when you say turn left and go along that sidewalk, you have to turn left, cross the driveway, and then turn left, find the sidewalk. It's not like, the sidewalk's right there, straight ahead. It's straight ahead, but you have to cross the driveway. There's a pole on your left. There's, you have to make landmarks. And a lot of sighted people don't understand that. So I get lost, and the part that really hurt me the most, and I think this is because our world uses headphones and all that, and their phones too much. I was asking for help, and I heard people walking by. I don't know if maybe they didn't help me because they couldn't speak English, because we do have some foreign exchange students here who don't speak English very well, which that's understandable. And some of them, I will say, are very helpful. They try to communicate, and I really appreciate that. For those of you that are out there that are struggling to speak English, and who are willing to help, even though English is not your first language, I really appreciate it. But the ones who could speak English, who were from America, they just literally just walked away. And I was already at my breaking point anyway because I was frustrated because I didn't know if it was something I was doing or something she was doing with veering or what was going on. And so I start crying in the middle of this intersection because, I couldn't figure it out and I was frustrated. And I was like, it should not be this hard. Why is it this hard for me whenever everyone else is literally just walking past? And I think that's part of the problem too. If you're the only blind college student or the only blind student at your college or your school, you get those feelings sometimes. And you're just like, man, I really need someone, so I don't feel alone. Because, as much as we try to fit in with the sighted world, we're not going to completely fit in. There's going to be some little aspects where sighted people just won't get it. So, we get lost, I'm crying, and I just have her on heel because I can't give her directions because I don't know where we are. And I was crying because I was also panicked because I couldn't find the curb and I knew I was in the road. The curb is a blended curb, so I didn't even know if I was on the sidewalk or the road. So finally, I just put her in harness, or pick up her handle of harness, and I say, okay, I said, just find the grass, because I knew if we found the grass, we'd be okay. So we found the grass, I stood there. Finally, this this maintenance guy comes and helps me. Really cool, thank you, sir. So he helped me kind of sort of get back on my path, but then by that point I was so frazzled that I literally screwed up the rest of the path, so I needed help to get back to the buildings, because I was just so, emotionally confused, and I couldn't focus, and so, he helped me, and as he was helping me, a giant crowd of people started gathering around. And this made me annoyed because I'm like, yes, I understand y'all want to help me, but at the same time, why weren't you there whenever I was standing in the middle of the intersection, yelling for help? Why do you have to come gather around this person who's helping me whenever, I'm crying and obviously upset and you couldn't help me before? And as soon as I got inside, I got a call from Public Safety, which is the campus police, and they said that there had been a report of someone matching my description who seemed upset and lost. And, I appreciate the person that reported that, but at the same time, it would have taken them 5 seconds to come up there and say, hey, let me help you to the grass, or, just ask, it's not, I won't kill you if you tell me the wrong directions. I mean, yeah, I'll be frustrated because, I don't like being lost. It's a scary feeling. But, I mean, the people that didn't come up to me because they're scared of blindness, I get it to a certain extent. I understand that blindness is scary. You don't know what to do. You being a sighted person, you don't know how to approach someone who's blind. But, I'm not going to kill you for coming up and asking if I need help or if I'm okay, which obviously I wasn't okay because I was crying in the middle of the street. But, just come up and ask me. So next day we worked on it. I was a little more calm, which helped her because Beacon gets really stressed when I get stressed, which honestly she's helped me a lot about that because I used to get stressed out about everything, worried about everything, and now I can't physically get worried because if I do, she gets worried and stressed and she's not calm. So I had to be calm, which is hard, but it's great because it forces me to calm down, to think about things, to just slow down, focus on my situation, and not panic as much. So anyway, so I'm working on it. I'm working on the route the next day. And I figured out there's some couple things that I could teach her. So I worked with a sighted person. I said, hey, tell me what you see and everything. So they tell me, and we start working on it. And yesterday, I had somebody follow behind. Okay, wait, let me go back. So Thursday night, I said I will call someone if I get lost. That's my goal. So I'm walking back, and I literally almost cried because we made it for the first time ever without getting lost, without needing any sighted help. Excuse me. And it was like awesome, you know? And Beak knew it because as soon as I opened the door, she was like going crazy, flopping around and spinning in circles. And I was like, yes, like we did it. We're gonna make it. Well, then yesterday, yesterday morning, we did it by ourselves for the first time going back to campus. Again, without needing help, without getting sighted help or assistance. Excuse me, I can't speak. So, like, there's me in the middle of this building, and I'm like silently cheering because I can't scream or do anything because, you know, there's classes going on. But I gave her like the biggest hug, and I was so happy because, like, sighted people wouldn't understand unless you've been there. But even though it's small, something tiny as like walking a route to campus, you know, like everyone does it. Most people pick it up within the first couple weeks. But if you're blind, you understand how important that is. Like, I've come a long way since last year, my freshman year. The first time I walked a route independently without sighted help was at Leader Dogs, in June of 2018, yeah. So right before I started my freshman year of college. And then I started here, and I worked on more independent routes. Granted, they weren't as long as this. And then now, I just worked on my first independent route with my dog. That's not in Michigan. And yes, I did have someone observe yesterday. I had someone hide behind bushes so Beak couldn't see them. They felt like a stalker, but that's okay. And like it was, like I don't know how people feel when they're on drugs because I don't do drugs, but like that's how I felt. Like I don't know, like I wanted to like dance or something because I was so happy because we finally made it. And you know, like I've had some sighted people tell me, oh well, you shouldn't have that dog if it's doing that, or like because she likes to sniff trash cans on buses and stuff like that. So, you know, like little comments like that, like if I'm having a really rough day and someone comes up to me and says that dog's not very good, not very well trained, or why do you have that dog, or what's wrong with you that you need that dog, or why is the dog doing this or that if she's acting up or something, or some cases, why are you correcting that dog so hard? Because I do have to give her hard corrections sometimes because she's very, very young, very food motivated, and very distracted. You know, she's very distracted. So I have to correct her a lot, and I have to give her some hard corrections on occasion. People are like, that's rude, you shouldn't have that dog, that's abuse. And I'm like, well, no, it's not. But if you have an issue, call Leader Dog, you know. And, you know, like, if I'm having a really rough day and someone says something like that, it just really, like, hurts my confidence because, you know, I've only had her for 3 months. And, like I said, I sometimes forget that because I tend to judge myself based on judgments of others. So when someone says, man, you really shouldn't have that dog, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, they're right. You know, I shouldn't. Like, what am I doing? You know, I'm struggling here, and I read about other people who have had their dogs for 2 months. They're doing great. You know, and either that or they just never talk about the hard parts. Like all the books that I've read, all the YouTube videos that I've watched, 95% of the handlers none of them ever post anything where they struggle, like it's always positive, it's always like what I can do. And honestly, that bothers me because the people that are going to get a guide dog soon, they need to know that it's not all joy and wonderful. I mean, there's some parts where you literally, it's like, you sometimes wonder if you should even have the dog because it's stressful. You're in the middle of some intersection and you're crying because you can't figure it out. And so I wanted to mention that because, I want to bring awareness to the fact that not all partnerships with the dog are super great. I mean, we're awesome now, but like there are challenges, and even like parenting, like, people that are having a child for the first time, they never hear the bad parts. They never hear, oh, well, if your child does this, you're a horrible parent, or, I feel like that happens a lot with people with disabilities that have children with disabilities, because the public assumes that you're a horrible parent because your child has a disability, or because you're letting them act a certain way, and they don't understand, like, autism, for example. If someone who has autism is having some kind of difficulty with something and they're struggling, the people that are in Walmart are like, they're going, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing this? Why are you letting your child scream like that? What's going on? They're not understanding the whole point. And it's easy for people that are not in that situation to say, just give the other people a chance. Just don't listen to them. It's easier for them to say that. But unless you've been there, unless you're one of those parents, I mean, no offense, but you really have no right to say anything because you're not there, you haven't gone through it. So, those people that always tell people with disabilities, oh, well, you don't give the people that are not disabled a chance to show you what life's like or show you how they really act. I mean, you're correct. We do need to give them a chance. But, like, just be careful about what you say. Because, I mean, if someone's newly disabled, they don't want to hear that they're making a mistake already. Because, like, most of the time, their self-confidence is very low and everything. So, don't push them into stuff. Don't make them seem like they're already, like they're struggling more than they already are. Like, I think a lot of people discredit the fact that, like for me, for example, like I have a dog, life should be easy. It's not. In some areas it's a lot harder, but in some areas it is easier. But, like, it's the same as it always has been. It's not going to be any easier or harder. I mean, yes, like I said, in some areas it's easier, but it's harder in other areas than it used to be. And so, whenever these sighted people say that I shouldn't have this dog, or, like I'm abusing my dog or whatever, or she's not trained well enough. Oh, okay. Sorry, my phone said low battery. That just really hurts me as a person that they would say that. Like, they have no right. They're not here. They don't have a dog. And they're not dealing with the same challenges I am. And this goes not for even people with disabilities, but people in general. They don't know your challenges. So, they shouldn't judge. So yeah, sorry, this turned into like a rant, but that's my rant for the week. I guess my second rant of 2019, that's what it could be. Yeah. So anyway, that's my thing for today. If people do judge you, just don't take it personally. Ignore it for the most part. And if you can ignore it, maybe it's like a positive criticism, constructive criticism, that's what it is. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Maybe they're just like, I really don't like you, so I'm going to say this about you. Because there are people like that, but there are people that are trying to be positive, trying to help you out too. So just be careful about the people that you let influence your life. And don't let anything anyone says like really lead into depression. Don't take it too hard. If someone does tell you you're not a very good dog handler, or you suck at whatever you're trying to do. Don't let that be the determining factor of your life. Because like there are people out there who do believe in fact that you're going to fail at whatever you're trying to do. And you have to decide, you have to be the one to say, well, guess what? Like I'm going to prove you wrong, you know? That's my motivation personally, is proving people wrong. It sucks that there are people out there who do think that I'm going to be failing at life. But the people that are very positive for me, like, I appreciate it. So if you're out there and you're struggling with your disability or you're newly disabled, like, I really encourage you to truly find the people that actually care, that aren't just saying that just to be rude. And be careful about who you let influence your life. Okay, well, that's all. So, sorry about my long rant. Hopefully you found something beneficial. Well, have a good day. Bye.